Are you tired of taking boring photos? Do you want to take photos that will wow your clients, even your family and friends? I'm going to give you 10 of my rituals. These are 10 things that I do before I go out for any shoot. So I was in Norway photographing black horses that had black eyes. I could not see, my camera could not see, I could not focus at all. What did I do? I promise you, your photography will dramatically change and your clients are going to say, wow, what happened? Your images are amazing. Hey guys, this is Ijaz. I am a fashion and a wildlife photographer here in New York, and after shooting for such a long time for designers, magazines, art galleries, fine art prints, I have realized that we have a tendency of making photography difficult. Let's break it down. Let's make it super easy. The first tip on that is make it simple in your mind first, and everything else will fall into place. Guys, let's make photography easy. Key number 1 for success. I ask myself, why am I shooting? Are you shooting for a client? Are you shooting for yourself? Are you shooting to show the world something they have never ever seen? You've got to ask yourself why it's so important. I'll answer this later. Why are you shooting this is so important because you're... When I give you all my other 10 rituals, this will make the most sense. Ritual number 2, what is the color of my subject? And I think you guys, if you've seen my other videos, you know where I'm going with this. You have to ask yourself, what is the color of my subject? Write it down on a piece of paper. And then from here, I'm going to go to point number 3. The third one, the third big ritual. Based on the answer from ritual 2, before I get to set, I need to decide whether I am going to listen to my camera or add more light or subtract light. In my case, my next shoot is the snowy owl. The camera is going to look at the snowy owl, measure it, and then make it gray, because that's the camera's job. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say, no. I don't want a gray snowy owl. I want a white snowy owl, right? So I'm going to add exposure. I'm going to add light to it. So if I'm going to add light to it, I need to decide that before I get to set. If I was to shoot something which is darker, then I'm going to decide before I get to set or location, I'm going to take away light based on what my camera is saying. That's point number 3. I have decided to photograph my snowy owl, and I'm going to make that 1.5 stops brighter. If my camera is telling me at ISO 640 and at aperture f4 I need XYZ shutter speed, then I am going to add light to it, meaning I'll drop my shutter speed by 1.5 stops. So this way it starts to give me white and not what it wants to give me, gray. But the key to all of this is to have everything in your pocket. Not go to set and say, okay, what am I doing? Aren't these easy rituals? But your last few tips are going to be physical. Those will not only make your brain and your eye perfect, it's also physically going to help you. No gym, no working out, none of that. Wait, we are getting there. Wait for it. So ritual number 4, at what f-stop you want to shoot. You're not going to listen to your camera. Your camera is going to tell you whatever the camera tells you, but you are going to decide what f-stop. My f-stop for my snowy owl shoot is going to be f4, because I want to direct my audience eye to my subject. If I shoot my subject at f4, everything else around it will slowly but surely start to get a little bit less sharp. I should say blurry. Everything in front of it, everything behind it. Remember that video, the video here that I spoke to you guys about the wiggle room? The wiggle room. For that purpose, I am going to determine before I get on location, what f-stop do I want to shoot it at? And the main purpose of me shooting at a particular f-stop is because I want to direct my audience's eye to where I want them to see. And the second reason is, of course, to be super prepared before I get there. So I am not going to move my f-stop at all, and I'm not going to move my ISO at all. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to write it on a piece of paper, and I'm going to say, that is my f-stop for the shoot. All right, guys, so now we are on our ritual number 5. Go to the PhotoPill app, figure out your wiggle room. I mean, I'm calling it a wiggle room, acceptable focus. Go find out what your acceptable focus is, because you've already determined what your f-stop is, and choose that based on your skill level. I shoot with the lowest. I shoot with 1.2, 1.8, f4, and the reason why I do that is because I have a camera in my hand every single day. This is what I do for a living. But if you're not comfortable with shooting with 1.8, 2.8, whatever, and you're more comfortable with shooting f8, then shoot f8, figure out your wiggle room, and say to yourself, okay, now I know that I have 7 inches, I have 10 inches, I have 15 inches of wiggle room. Just knowing all this information is going to make you feel like, okay, I'm going to go there, I'm going to nail my subject, I'm going to nail the focus, I'm going to nail the exposure, come back with stunning images. Ritual number 6, you got to figure out how your subject runs, walks, eats, and that is going to make you more comfortable in the wiggle room that you have chosen. Good? Number 7, we're coming close. We are coming close. I promise you these 10 rituals are not going to take long. Number 7, find out what your subject eats. If I know what they eat, I know where to go, because they're going to come there to eat. Not so difficult, right? Just Google it, bang, you have it. If the subject is eating something from the ground, grazing grass, then you know you've got to be super low to be at the eye level. If your subject is chasing and attacking other animals and hunting, then you know that you could be 3 feet high or something of that sort. Determining the height of your camera before you land up on location, this way you can direct your audience to seeing exactly what you want them to see. If your subject is grazing and you shoot down on the subject, then you'll be showing your audience the background, which is very, very distracting. If you know that your subject is going to graze and you are really, really, really low with your camera, then the background could be the tree at the back, or the background could be the sky. What happens to that? Because of your wiggle room that you've chosen, that is going to get blurry. Once that gets blurry, direction of your audience is going to go straight to your subject. Isn't that what you want? The other reason why you want to figure out what they eat is because you may have to take some special equipment. You may have to take a tripod that goes all the way to the bottom. You may have to take a tripod that doesn't have the centerpiece, so it can go all the way to the bottom. Or you may have to take a tripod that extends over your height. But finding out what they eat helps you get organized. Ritual number 8, before I get to set, what is the contrast level of my subject's eye? Is it a black horse with black eyes? I know I have a problem. So I was in Norway photographing black horses that had black eyes. I could not see, my camera could not see, I could not focus at all. What did I do? Thank God I was not shooting wild horses, right? I was shooting horses in someone's ranch, a friend's ranch. I put a little bit of a white tape on the horse's eye on both sides so I could focus. So that's the reason why you figure out what is the contrast level of your subject's eye, because that really matters. And you are going to come back with amazing, sharp images where you'll be able to see that the eye is tack sharp. For all the animal lovers who are saying, oh my God, you put a tape on the horse, it was like a band-aid. Trust me, the horse was fine. For point number 9, I am going to take you guys outside. I am going to swing with the car with the same speed. The goal is to get the side view mirror, right? And they're moving pretty fast. So if I can get them at such a close distance, then I think I'll be able to get my snowy owl. It is cold. My hands are freezing. I should have put my gloves on, but I didn't. I forgot. Here comes another one. Comes another one. And then comes another one. When the cars come at you one after the other, what happens is that your reflexes get better. I mean, Do you see the movement in the waist? It's almost like going to the gym. I must tell you guys that facing the back, or at least a 45-degree angle, helps so much. You're not shooting, but you're focusing really far away where the subject is coming. I'm basically just shooting from there to there, less than 25 feet. God, it's cold. It is cold. Do at least 50, 60 of these back and forth and back and forth. It's a workout, and it's cold, so it puts you into the same position as you are going to be when you're on location. Point number 10, if you can mimic the exact same environment. In my case, I'm doing the snowy owls. I did order a dummy snowy owl, and what I'm going to do with the snowy owl is I'm going to take it and put it in snow. I'm going to go with my camera, and I'm going to do everything that I have spoken to you about, from ritual number 1 to ritual number 10. Look what I have with me. We have the little snowy owl, and I'm going to take my measurements with the camera, and I'm going to see whether my exposure is going to be exactly how I expected it to be. And whatever the camera is going to point to this little snowy owl here, and it's going to try and make it gray. And I'm going to see whether opening up 1.5 stop is going to give me the exposure that I really want. I hope you guys can see my snowy owl sitting right over there. I'm going to come right back with the camera. I normally leave my camera at 1250 shutter speed. My ISO on this one, it's set at 640, and I am going to shoot the snowy owl at f4, so that's how I'm going to take the measurements. Remember, I told you that I'm going to shoot the snowy owl with 1.5 stops brighter than what the camera tells me. Like, the camera and I, we agreed to disagree, kind of. So whatever the camera is going to tell me, I'm going to open it up from there, because the camera is looking at the snowy owl and saying, hey, wait a minute, I got to make you gray. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, hey, wait a minute, I got to bring you back to reality, which is white. The measurements were exactly what I expected them to be. The ISO and the f-stop is at f4, and for that I need a shutter speed at 1250, and it's giving me exactly what I want. I'm opening it up by 1 3/4 of a stop, or 1.5 stop, I should say. If you cannot get a dummy subject of yours, take something with the same color. It could be a pillow. Put it approximately in the same place, meaning your environment, and go take a photograph. Those are the 10 rituals. Now you're going to say to me, hey, Ijaz, what about point number 1? You said you're going to tell us why, right? So, okay. So point number 1, I asked myself, why am I doing it? If I'm doing it for a client, I need to make sure that the client is fulfilled with what they want and what is in their brain and how they want it, and so on and so forth. If I'm doing it to show something to the world that they have never ever seen, then that is going to make me also do something which has never been done before. Why are you shooting this is so important, because your effort level changes based on that answer. If you are just doing it for the heck of it and you're just going there to have fun, go have fun. That's it. So it's easy. So if you don't come back with stunning images, nothing wrong with it. But if you're doing it for a reason, a client could be the reason, to get better photographs could be the reason, whatever the reason is, you must have a why. Because without a why, you're getting nowhere. I am going to see you guys soon for the next one. I think the next one is going to be about... It's coming. We've recorded that and it's coming soon. I'll speak to you guys soon. Thank you.